Welcome back, you guys. Today, I want to talk about something that's quite close to my heart, and it's about trusting a higher power, the universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And it's very close to my heart for a number of reasons. The most significant one has to be how much it has transformed my life, because up until recently, I did not actively pray. I did not even believe in a higher power or the universe or just something that is beyond us. Now, I do come from a religious family, but for some reason, it was just beyond me to ask for help or to believe that somebody could be listening to you and they could give you what you want in a way. I never paid too much attention to it until like a couple of years ago, where I was at the lowest in my life and I was ready to do anything to come out of that place, to not feel those feelings ever again. So I think in that state of desperation, I started believing in these things, and it was very tough in the beginning because I have always been very hyper independent. It really operated from a place of ego where I was like, I am self-sufficient, like I don't need anything from the external. I don't need to like pray to a god or whatever, and I don't need to like beg them to give me stuff. Like I can do it for myself, which is partly true, but then it's also like really being full of yourself. You feel like you are limitless and you can literally do everything. That is not true. You need support, the divine, let's call it that, or the universe. And it was only when I was at that lowest point in my life where nothing was helping, where I was not able to help myself, did I turn to it, and everything just shifted for me from that point on. And the second reason is it's allowed me to change so many narratives that I heard growing up. Stuff like you have to fear God, you have to be scared of God, as a way to like keep a check on your morals and your values. And I know a lot of people don't do stuff because they're scared of these things, which is, I mean, if it helps, it's great. But I think the downside to this is you don't develop a loving relationship, a trusting relationship with the universe. You're just like sort of always scared. You see everything as a consequence. You never consciously think about a positive consequence. You're always scared of a negative consequence. And so that really taints your relationship with the universe. But the more I started learning about these things and the more I started developing a trusting relationship with the universe, I started becoming less and less scared of these negative things happening in my life. Embarking on this journey and just trusting the universe and knowing that it always protects me, it always has my back, has helped me so much with my anxiety and with these catastrophic thoughts. And it's just allowed me to believe in abundance, in the goodness of life, and the goodness of people. And surprisingly, I thought that if I was praying to something, or if I even acknowledged a power that is beyond us, that means like I'm not self-sufficient, that means I'm being dependent on somebody else. But it's actually quite the contrary. When I started trusting in the universe, I just started trusting myself more. I've become more confident in my own capabilities, and probably sounds a little extreme, but it's almost like I can sometimes see myself as a true extension of the universe, of the divine. There are moments like maybe when I'm meditating or maybe something's happened and it just like hits me for a second when I'm like, I can do this because I'm literally made of the same thing that our universe is made of, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's been a very empowering decision on my end to have this faith and this belief that there's a higher power always looking out for you, always working with you. If you invest in that relationship, if you understand it, then your life can truly be more magical than if you're just doing everything on your own at a human level. Because the truth is, like, as humans, we are not limitless, no matter how much we try to outdo ourselves. And there's obviously something greater than all of us that drives us and all the other species and the earth and all the other planets and stuff. So it's just a matter of if you want to tap into it or not. And once you do, then everything just shifts around you. It's almost like a reality shift, like you've entered a different reality altogether, because you're more tapped into your own powers, your own intuition. The guidance is always present. It's accessed more easily, as opposed to when you're not connected to this power. You also feel a lot more closer to all the creatures around you, all the life around you. You're just more in sync with everything around you. Believing in this power, trusting this power is actually so much more than just praying when things are tough, when you don't have any other resort, or when there's nothing else that you can turn towards. Of course, it can start at the point it started like that for me as well, and for a lot of other people, because faith is developed when you have a lot of belief, and when you don't have a lot of other options, you just you're ready to believe it. But when you start from that point, you're also able to have that support through the positive times, through the good times, through this and stuff. And the more you stay connected to the source, you also stay connected to yourself. You also trust yourself, and it sort of like goes both ways. You trust yourself, you trust the universe, and you trust the universe, and you trust yourself. And it's such a satisfactory relationship to have, especially when it's not based in fear or compulsion or pressure. Like when you're doing it because it just feels right, because it's your nature to connect to this source, then you just have this deep seated knowledge that you will never be alone, that you're never on your own, or you have to figure it out all on your own. Like there's always a power that is driving you. There's always a power that is literally there to help you out and show you the way, and for you to have a life that is just wonderful. There are certain ways in which you can trust the universe. So I want to share 3 easy ways in which you can develop this trusting relationship with the universe. The first thing, and the most obvious thing, is you have to actually believe in this power. You have to believe in the universe. You have to believe in everything that it can do. I was so resistant for such a long time. The universe did humble me pretty nicely. It took me a hard smack to the face to realize that there's so much out of my control, that I cannot do everything on my own, and life will not go the way I want it to. No matter how desperately I want it to go a particular way, the things I want, the people I want, like sometimes I'm just not going to have them, and that's the reality. And the easiest way to make sense of it all is to believe that there is a higher power that's driving all of this, something that we cannot completely understand or grasp, but it's there, it's doing its job. Just by being humans, we don't know everything. We possibly cannot know everything. And if you believe that whenever you're helpless, you can turn towards this source and it will guide you, it will put you back on the path, it will help you out, then that's the starting point. Because if, again, as I said, if you're doing it out of anything other than a firm belief, then it's just not going to work for you. Unfortunately, it's all energy. Even this divine source is energy. So the first step, the most important step, is to work on your beliefs. Like listen to like miracle stories or whatever, or just people who have this faith in the universe and their stories, and how turning towards the source has helped them out in their own lives. So when you get like real life stories, you're able to trust it more. Just do it as an experiment, honestly. Maybe doing like small manifestation techniques. My therapist taught me this one. It's very simple. Like she would make me think about like a random thing that I don't care about, and she would make me manifest it. Like before sleeping, I would visualize having it. For example, I would visualize seeing a purple feather every night before going to bed. And it's so rare, like where I live, you will not see purple feathers that frequently. And I did not care about it. I did not care if I got it or I did not get it. It did not matter. I think 4 days later or something, I actually saw it on the internet, like out of nowhere. Like it came on my YouTube. Yeah, just try finding ways in which you can build this belief in this power. Don't force yourself to do it. It should come from within you for it to work the best. The next thing is to be in communication with the universe. Communication is key to any relationship. So start talking to universe, start talking to God or whatever. And I'm not saying like praying and chanting and stuff. That's, I feel like, a little more advanced. But I'm just saying like just talk how you would talk to a friend or any other person. And it sounds mad crazy if you've never done it before, but the thing is, we are always talking to the universe unconsciously. As I mentioned, it's all energy. So what you think, what you believe, your continued actions, that's all the ways in which you are communicating with the universe. So you might as well do it more consciously. You can say your desires out loud, ask for help, be really vocal about it. You can do visualizations. You can do literally what I did. Like you can use a manifestation visualization technique. And of course, if you want to take it a step forward, you could do meditations and chantings. All of that is great. But just as a starting point, you could just talk to it. You know what I mean? The universe is just not in your head. The universe is always listening. Now, once you do get into this habit, like you do this regularly, you'll automatically be in sync with its energy and you'll work alongside it more effortlessly in the form of intuition, signs and synchronicities, etc. All of that. The universe is always listening, so you might as well consciously talk to it and access its power. And the next thing is to surrender. You won't know how safe the catch will be unless you fall first, and you don't know how trustworthy the universe can be unless you release control. We are creatures of control. We want to know the whole plan, every step of the way, before we get into something, before we decide if it's worth it or not. But life doesn't work that way. And it's scary to admit that there are things outside of our control, but it's so much more easier when you know that when things get too hard to handle, then you can just turn it all over to the universe and surrender and see what happens. And it's laughable how easy that sounds. It's the hardest thing you will do, I think, in your entire lives. And I wish I could tell you that there's some easy fixes to it or you can hack your way into it, but that's not the truth. I mean, yeah, if there are instances where you felt supported by the universe, like, you can look back at them and you can gain a little bit of courage from those situations. But the funny thing about surrendering is no matter how many times you've done it, if it's a new situation, you're going to feel the same resistance. You will want to control the situation. You'll want to know exactly what happens. Like your mind cannot help it. I could have surrendered something in my personal relationships yesterday, but today I'm worried about career and I'm going to feel the same resistance. Like, I will not be able to say, okay, like, I don't care, like, I know you've got me, let me chill out. I will not. I will think about it for days on ends. I will hurt myself so bad, coming to the worst conclusions ever, and only then will I be ready to surrender after I've felt all that anxiety, all the scary conclusions. Then I'll be like, okay, I've had enough of this. I let it go. You know what I mean? It's really, really hard. It's a battle each time. But I think the beautiful thing is once you win this battle with yourself, then all of this burden leaves you, all of this stress leaves you. You're at peace, and all of a sudden you're not stuck anymore. Things start moving, and before you realize it, you're at a much better place than where you started out, because resistance to change is what stops us from growing. But when you surrender, when you let go, you are releasing that resistance. You are being okay with change. You're being okay with the unknown. And obviously, when you're not holding on to something too tight, other things, better things have space to come in. So when we relinquish control and trust that the universe has a plan for us, a better plan than anything we could come up with ourselves, then we get to the next level more gracefully, sometimes even quickly. So if you can't stop contemplating about something, you're sick with anxiety, you feel stuck, then that's a clear sign that you should surrender. It's out of your control. Just let it go. Give it all over to the universe. It will take care of it. Because no matter how much you think about it, how much you want to change it, it cannot be changed. Holding on too tightly is only going to hurt you. So you might as well surrender and see what happens. And you will get those urges to think about it again, to come at it from different angles and different directions, even though you've done it like a million times before. But you have to fight that urge. Every time your mind tells you that, oh my god, we're losing control, think about it, do something about it. Just calmly tell it that we don't have to. Sometimes it's okay, and it's even important that you release that control, because we only know so much. There's a limited vision for us. There's a limited possibility for us. So if we just like take a step back sometimes, then the horizon just opens up. There's a lot more possibility. We are able to make better decisions because now we have more options. And once you get to that stage, you will realize that surrendering has been the best action you've taken. Not doing anything has been the best action you've taken. And all of this, you have to do it with love, with intention. The universe loves us unconditionally. So if we can love it back, then the trust is developed more easily. And not the same thing works for everyone. For some, this could be through a path of religion. For some, it could be through a path of scriptures. For others, it could be something completely different. The thing is, there's a lot of generalization in your culture, in your family, or whatever. You're either taught to be scared of God, you're taught to be skeptical about these things, or you were forced sometimes to pray or follow a religion or whatever. But the thing is, you have to figure out what works for you. You have to figure out what is the best way for you to connect to this source. Trust the universe, knowing that all it wants to give you is abundance, joy, peace, love. Sometimes getting there comes with lessons and shit that's just tough. But then again, if you trust this divine source, if you trust this higher power, then it will guide you to wherever you're meant to go. And it's like two people doing something is much better than one person doing it. Like when you have help, when you have support, then everything is just a shit ton more easier. You know what I mean? So if it's present for every single one of us, if this source wants to guide every single one of us, then it just makes sense that we access it, that we trust it, and that is how we can get to our highest potential. And that's how we can give the best of us to ourselves and to the world around us, and we can have a purposeful life, and we could help others out, change the world, all of that jazz. But as I said, it starts from little things. So it starts from trusting yourself, and it also starts from trusting the universe, working with it and knowing that it's not some esoteric stuff, it's not some crazy superstitious stuff. Literally, all of us are made from the same source. So when we understand that all of life is connected, every single one of us are connected, we can stop seeing these things as out of the world or just for some people and whatever other judgments we hold. And if something can help you become your very best version, then it really does not make sense to me that we give it names and have like prejudices about it. So I think the more people become open to the idea of this divine source and this power and being able to work with it, then I think everybody can be transformed. It's so important to me because it has truly changed my life, and I hope you can also start connecting to the universe in this way. You can also start trusting the universe in this way, and you can stay connected to it through all the ups and downs of life. So for doing that, I hope this video helped you. Thank you for listening to that, and I will see you again. Bye.